I'll tell my man to clean your kit.
Don't bother.
No bother. Not having to clean it myself.
Halt! Hats off!
But I ain't got me peace of mind. And if you ain't got that, you ain't got nothing. I don't know. It seems to me, if they ain't got you one way, they got you another. So what's the answer? That's what I keep asking myself. What's it all about? Know what I mean?
Gerry, the bandit, you've been throwing them away.
So why steal them?
Well, because he thought it was good sport. Because some men aren't looking for anything logical, like money. They can't be bought, bullied, reasoned, or negotiated with. Some men just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah, Michael Caine. I've been watching him since I was a baby. I love that guy. I remember first time my dad watched a Michael Caine film with me in the theater. It was after my first movie I ever saw in a theater was John Wayne in True Grit, and the speakers. We sat right below the speakers, and I got a bloody ear from it. For some reason, it irritated my eardrum, and I got scared of movies, so I didn't go to theaters again until about I think it was about 71. The next time I went to a movie, and one of the films we went to see was Get Carter, and I love that movie. And Anima got to watch it today. We watched the film, and it had a huge impact on Vindicated, that film. And not so much even Vindicated, I mean, even more so the sidequel that I wrote the story to, which is called Pilgrim, which takes place in England, because I always wanted to write an English crime story. And Michael Caine, always in my head, man. Whether he's playing Harry Palmer or Harry Brown, I fucking love Michael Caine. And 2 weeks ago was his birthday. I wanted to do this show that Thursday, but it was a nutty week, and I tried to do it last week, and just there was no time. I was exhausted with everything that's going on. And finally this week, I pushed myself, and I feel pretty good, I gotta be honest. I didn't even take my nap today. My old man nap. And it makes me sad that The Great Escaper, which is the film that, just came out last year, looks like it's gonna be his last film. He's retiring. He's like, he has to walk with a cane now, and he's hit a point where he thinks it's time to go. Michael Caine. Michael Caine.
I expected
Why
to get
why isn't Shinatsky on here? Why aren't you on here, Shinatsky? You should be on here talking about it too. Hi, Jacob. How are you doing, my friend? Who else is here? Scott. Let's see.
Penny.
Tim is here. Penny is here. Hi, Penny. My buddy Jacob is here. He moved, but he's still a Missourian, so I'm probably just not going to see him as much. Every once in a while, I would go down to the South Walmart on the south side of town, the big one. It's the super one. It's the large. I think it is the largest Walmart we have here in Springfield. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Walmarts and 4 markets. The Walmart supermarkets. So we're an actual city. We got indoor plumbing. So, but Shinatsky, you should be on here with me. Yes, I'm not cranky at all right now. I do get cranky. Anima heard me get cranky a minute ago. And Martin too. Martin was here too. They know when I'm going to get cranky.
You are a cranky old man.
Yes, even oh my God, I got to hang out with Scribelight today, and he said the same thing. He goes, "Yeah, you're kind of a curmudgeon. You're kind of a cranky guy." You know what? Yes, I am.
Yeah, that's why you didn't take your nap. You went on with him on his channel.
Yeah, I just I told him, I said I have buku amounts of patience for certain things. But then you start talking about something I don't want to talk about, and the crankiness comes out. It's like I get so cranky. It's funny.
Every time I'm trying to be helpful, you turn into a cranky 5-year-old.
Yes, I'm like, stop it. Take a nap, old man. Okay, you guys do the show.
That's it, Tim. You don't get your video for that. Hi, Dragon Roos.
Hey, Dragon Roos, how you doing, buddy? We are here to celebrate one of the greatest actors. And this guy single-handedly changed British cinema. And it was so passive. It was so smooth. Most people didn't even notice what he did. Because until Michael Caine, the only English accents we heard in film and on television were posh English accents. The upper crust English. Tut, you know. And ironically, his first movie starring role in Zulu, he was asked not to play the working class officer, but to play the upper posh English officer. And he wasn't going to get the job unless he could pull it off. And he went and did it. Yeah, and the ironic thing is, it's not just because I'm old. I've always been cranky. I've always been a curmudgeon. Always. I have always just had this, like, this tape holding things together, and if somebody snaps that tape, it comes apart and cranky comes out. Since I was a kid, man. It's funny. It's not just because I'm older now. I'm gonna be 60 here in a month. And, even though my brain doesn't feel like it's 60, my body does. My brain still I still feel weird when I'm around people my age. I'm like, "Oh, man, I'm around all these old people."
My mom diagnosed me once as being stuck in my mid-20s forever. She's right.
Yeah, well, I know that, like, because I'll say it, like, I'll watch a trailer and you'll see me get emotional watching, certain kinds of trailers, like sci-fi, really good Star Wars or really good science fiction or adventure. I'll get choked up because it'll bring back that 13-year-old kid that lives in my brain. 'Cause he's still in there. He's still stupid, still gets excited about the dumbest shit. And, but one of the things, that I've always been an old man too, and I didn't grow up watching kiddie shows. I grew up watching real movies as a kid. I would watch, Masterpiece Theater on PBS. I'd watch, Criterion Collection films on PBS. I love to watch these movies. And I knew when I was 10 years old, I knew who Peter Finch was. Who's Peter Finch, Anima?
You know I don't know. Stop doing that.
No clue. I knew when I was 10 years old. Keith and I, that's why we became friends. We're both absolute true-blooded cinephiles. I love cinema. And there's just something about a film that just brings me to life, and I just kinda lose myself, and watching a Michael Caine film do that to me. I get lost in the characters. He does something that so many actors doesn't do. He can go through a gamut of emotions in a film. And he's just so smooth in the way he does it. He'll transition. You saw him do it today when we watched, Get Carter,
Mhm.
the original, 1972, you said, right?
71.
71. 'Cause, yeah, that was the year my dad took me to see a film again. and we went to see Get Carter, and I fell in love with that movie. I fell in love with Michael Caine. I'm like, "This guy's awesome." And he, like I said, single-handedly, almost overnight, with the movie Alfie, made the East End Cockney accent part of England instead of the dirty secret that they seem to treat it as for years. And we'll all forgive Dick Van Dyke for his terrible Cockney accent in Mary Poppins. It was just awful. It was really bad. But, Michael Caine, God, man, that guy came out, did Alfie, and Anima watched that film with me.
It's my
And you
second
saw what I was
favorite Michael Caine movie. Second.
It is such a wonderful film, but it's really rough to watch
Yeah.
because, even though he is the protagonist, he's not always a likable person. He's a cat.
You want to like him, but then he goes and does stuff where it's just like, oh, damn it, did you have to?
But he gets a
You really
taste of his
get-
own medicine.
Yeah.
In the end, he gets a taste of his own medicine, and he realizes it's sort of like that moment in Family Guy where the guy's in jail and he's in prison and he's got like his, what do they call those, shiv, for shanking somebody. He's got a shiv and he's sitting there and he's got nobody to stab with it, and he pokes himself in the thigh and he goes, "Ow! Was that how it feels when I stab people? Oh, I gotta stop doing that." It's the same sort of thing. And, oh, yes, The Will Be I love that movie. Sidney Poitier, a great film. Great film. Michael Caine, just to give you a general idea, Michael Caine, was a real combat veteran. He saw intense combat, including hand-to-hand combat, and
Korea?
really gnarly, scary hand-to-hand combat with the Chinese in Korea. And, he came out of it, he was changed. He talked about it in a few interviews that, it's clear he's got some PTSD, but he found that doing these films really helped him. It's a form of catharsis. And, I just love that about the guy, and he was born I love this, his real name is Maurice Joseph Micklewhite. And he was taken with acting as a child, and he eventually started acting on stage, etcetera. He got some gigs doing commercials and shit like that, and he went by the name Michael White. But when it finally came time for him to get a film role, his agent told him, "There's already a Michael White, so you need to change your name." And he was, in Piccadilly. Was it Piccadilly or Leicester Square? Which one was it, Anima? It was Piccadilly, wasn't it?
Uh,
Where all the theaters are, the movie theaters.
I
And it's
think
right
that's
off it's
Piccadilly.
right off Piccadilly. It's between Piccadilly and Leicester Square. And, he's on the phone with her, and he turns and he's in a phone booth, and he's looking around, and he sees Bogart, and Bogart's like his favorite actor. And the movie that was playing was the Caine Mutiny. So he says, "Caine, Michael Caine," as, Shinatsky so, perfectly put, Michael Caine. It's my cocaine. And that's when he became Michael Caine. And, he was rooming at the time with legendary James Bond star, Sean Connery. And they partied together.
I
Hard.
love that they were roommates.
There was this, so many funny stories they've told. And sometimes I get the stories confused because I listen to so many of those stories from like Richard Burton, Peter O'Toole, because I had you watch some of the Peter O'Toole, Richard Harris storytelling
Mhm.
the other day with me. And some of those stories will cross with me because they all took place right around the same time, in and around London. And, but Michael Caine and Sean Connery were best friends. They were best friends until Connery's death. And I'm sure that Michael Caine still considers him his best friend. They only got to make really one movie together,
The Man Who Would Be
which
King.
sucks. They were in the movie together, but they didn't have any scenes together in
Yeah.
A Bridge Too Far. But they got to play best friends in the movie The Man Who Would Be King by Rudyard Kipling.
Great fucking movie.
Mm-hmm. So
Tragic ending, but
it's a little less tragic in the movie than it was in the short story. Because the short
yeah, you
story,
told me that.
he dies at the end of it too. Michael Caine's character, after he finally runs into the writer. It's clearly Rudyard Kipling, but he runs into the writer and shows him his friend's head in the crown, and then leaves with it. He didn't leave it with the writer; he left with it. And the next day, the writer saw him again on the road, stumbling, and he didn't have anything with him, and he fell to the ground and died. British are here. As you like Michael Caine, may I suggest The Wrong Box, 1966, comedy film with kings of British comedy, Peter Cook, Dudley Moore, Tony Hancock, and Peter Sellers, Wilfred Lawson, and others. Love that stuff, dude. I love that stuff. I'm a big fan of Peter Cook and Dudley Moore. I love their early work on TV, as well as, Bedazzled. I saw that when I was about 8 years old, and I love that movie. I did not like the remake here in America they made in the 90s. I'm like, they should have left that movie alone. That movie's perfection. But but Michael's done a lot of great films, and there are films that he did due to contractual obligations, like the movie The Italian Job. That was a film that was made specifically to sell the Mini Cooper. It was produced by the company that makes the Mini Cooper, and it was fully funded by that. And oddly, it's still a damn good movie, and it has one of the weirdest endings where it's like the bus is hanging halfway off of a cliff on this road, and the gold is all the way out on the end over the cliff. And Michael Caine's trying to work his way sliding towards it. He stops and he turns and he looks back at the crew as they're standing up by the door trying to keep the weight balanced. And he says, "Wait, I've got a good idea." And that's it. That's the end of the movie. And ends with him saying that line. And it's like, you have no idea if they're going to get the gold or all die.
That's
Horrible,
such a weird ending.
tragic death. And they remade it again when the Mini Coupe made the new version of the Mini Cooper. And they remade it with an actor who didn't want to be in it. And I think it ended up hurting the film because it got out that he didn't want to be in it. And it's the guy who played the Hulk and then got replaced. Because you got Eric Bana, he got replaced. And then the next actor, Norton.
Edward Norton. I haven't seen the remake. A friend of mine, he saw it and he told me that the character of Ed Norton is he couldn't stand it. He made him a complete coward, was what he said to me. So
yeah, he's a slimy character, and so I don't know. It just didn't have the charm of the original film. And I mean, yes, we all wanted to see the chase scenes with the Mini Cooper. It was fun. It was a lot of fun, but the new film, it lacked the luster of the original film, and of course, it lacked Michael Caine. So, but he did some films.
I'm pretty sure Norton had his own cocaine.
I'm not an Edward Norton fan. I'm not.
I am.
I like his films. Don't get me wrong, but I think he's a pain in the ass when he's doing films, and it kind of comes through his performances sometimes, and it annoys me. That a person is that difficult to work with. Whereas other actors that I like that I think are better than him, I just forgot his name. Lawn Dogs. What was that actor's name? He dances and everything.
Oh, yes.
Like Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
I've got it right here.
Okay.
Yep, there we go. Lawn Dogs, 1997. I love that movie, by the way. The kid is so freaking Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell.
I would watch him do anything. That guy just slays me with his acting. He's one of those naturals. And it's the same thing with, like, going back to Michael Caine. Michael Caine is just a natural actor. He's good. And he can transition one moment to the next from raging to calming down in a way that I love the way he acts. And I've tried to introduce Anima to a lot of these great films of his. One of the films we just watched with him, I think he almost takes a back seat in the movie, but he's still important, is Secondhand Lions, which we'll be talking about this weekend.
That's my favorite movie with him. It's just
And
so lovely.
ironically, he takes a back seat to Robert Duvall. Duvall is sort of the main character in that film, him and the kid. And Michael
Yeah.
Caine is the uncle that's a transitioning character. He helps move the character through dialogue to what's going to happen next.
He's the
And-
sidekick because they need to be the odd duo, the two brothers. It
Yeah,
wouldn't work if
and
there
it-
was just one of them.
yeah. One's the hero, and the other one's the loving
sidekick.
brother. But going back, Zulu, when he got the job for Zulu, he was terrified he wasn't going to get it, and he really wanted it. And he went in and did a posh English accent. I can still hear his Cockney accent when I watch the film, but it's just he does such a good job. And that scene, that first time you see him in the film, where he walks up and he's kind of annoyed with this new officer. He says, "Why are you using my men? Who gave you permission to use my men?"
He's so annoyed in that scene.
But I would
yeah.
prefer that to be asked, And then he says, "I'll have my men clean your kit." He goes, "Thank you. I don't want to be any trouble." "No trouble. It's not like I'm going to clean it, but you should have your kit clean, chin chin and all." And he just rides away from him, just being so pompous. But he ends up being really his character has his story arc where he really becomes a good soldier, following the orders of this other guy that he thought he was the senior of. And then on top of it, he admires him because he gets his taste of real combat in that story. And that is the second battle of the day. The first battle of the day was lost. And that is covered in the next film with Burt Lancaster, called Zulu Dawn. And thankfully, by the time they were done with that battle, I think they were already a little tired. And then they went to the second encampment and attacked, and finally gave up pretty much during the night. In the movie, they changed that historically because they show another battle in the morning. That didn't take place. By morning, they were just gone, and they went out there and they saw the dead. Now, I'm going to tell you, it's not polite, but they went out there and they killed all the Zulu who were dead or lying there that weren't dead. So they were dead after the British were done with them because they were angry over what the Zulu did. But I think it's a fairly truthful, not always accurate film, Zulu, but it's still one of my favorite movies. And you enjoyed that film, didn't you, Anima?
Yeah, I did.
So you've got some information on Michael. Do you want to talk about it? Because you watched the documentary today.
I couldn't finish it.
Oh, you didn't?
No, when? I was in chat when you did Scribelight's show.
I
I
figured
can't
you
do
would
that
still-
and watch stuff on the side.
I
I'm
can.
not that. No, I can't.
So you didn't get to finish it, but you got to see some of the opening where he talked about some of the stuff. It's a very good documentary, and I thought it was important. I thought you were going to watch it. So you have some information. Doesn't matter.
No, not really. I mean,
Oh, you said you did some reading.
I read up on him. Yeah, I'm not going to give a report about him or something here.
Well,
I thought we
then
just
don't
talk
tell
about
me
him.
later that I talked so much that you didn't get a chance to add.
No, I won't.
I wanted to make sure to give you a chance. He did. I think this is one of my favorite films that he did, and it's such a small part. He got to be in a movie with Batman and Wolverine called The Prestige about magic, Christopher Nolan. And it is absolutely one of my favorite films with Michael Caine in it. I love that movie.
I thought you were going for Jaws Revenge.
No, I've never seen that movie.
No, don't do it. Don't do it, man.
I've never seen it. I love his response to it, which was, it bought his house.
Mm-hmm.
He says, it paid for my house. So I will tell you this, that in 1967, he saw a commercial, a coffee commercial. And he saw this beautiful Indian woman in the commercial. And his wife's name is, what is it?
Shakira.
Shakira. She's Shakira Caine. And he saw her and said, I've got to meet her. And he finagled a way to finally meet her. And they went out and fell in love, and they've been married ever since.
And then she played Sean Connery's wife in The Man Who Would Be King.
Yeah, she played his wife that
to
bites
be.
his...
That was so funny, watching the movie knowing that she was King's wife.
That has happened in other occasions. For example, with Christopher Lambert. His wife saw him in Tarzan and said, I'm going to get that guy.
Greystoke's a great film.
Yeah.
It is my absolute favorite Tarzan film of all time.
And of course, we all know the story of Jason Momoa and his now ex-wife.
Oh, yeah.
He saw him. He saw her as he was a kid, and he saw her on I think it was the Cosby Show.
Yes.
And he was trapped, and
he made it happen. He
met
her, and they got together.
And then she left him.
They split up. They agreed to not be a couple anymore.
She left him. Rumors started coming out about Amber Heard and shit, and it's so many things. It's so stupid the way they listen to the trades, the gossip rags, I should say, because it's the same thing that happened to Chris Pratt, because his wife, what's her name, from the Scary Movie, Anna Faris, she was reading those fucking tabloids, man. And they kept spreading rumors that weren't true about J-Law, Jennifer Lawrence. And it sucks. But my goodness, this guy has been in so many great Americans. The Quiet American is one of those films that I think is better than what it gets treated for. It is a good film, him and Brendan Fraser. Educating Rita is a great movie. Sleuth is one of my favorites with him. With Sir Laurence Olivier. Yeah, it was a choice between Get Carter or That Today. And
which one? Because Carter. He was in the original and in the remake.
Well, the odd thing is Jude Law has played characters that he played first.
Mm-hmm.
Twice.
Sleuth and
Alfie. He did the remake of Alfie, which was terrible. And then the remake of Sleuth. And he plays the Michael Caine character. And Caine plays the Olivier character.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really kind of fun. I prefer the ending of the original, to be honest. I thought it was better. But still good. I'm not going to complain. And one of the fun things he did over the last 30 years is he actually plays a version of Harry Palmer again, but in Austin Powers. He plays the part of Austin Powers' dad, who is, Austin Powers is kind of a nod to Harry Palmer with the glasses. And Harry Palmer, because Saltzman, who was the co-producer and he owns Eon Productions for James Bond, wanted to do the poor man's James Bond. He wanted to do the opposite side of Bond. So he bought the rights to the character, which, by the way, in the book, The Hypocrite's File, the story is told first person, so he doesn't have a name in the book. It's just told first person. So eventually the name became Harry Palmer. And it's a name that Michael Caine picked himself, not the Palmer, but the Harry, because Harry Saltzman asked him, he says, well, what do you think your character's name would be? And he says, your character needs to be somebody who's like kind of boring. So it should have a boring name. And he says, what name do you consider boring? And he goes, Harry.
Oh.
Right to Saltzman's face.
Ouch.
And so he's the reason it's named Harry. And of course, he made several films, The $1 Billion Brain. One of the last ones was Bullet to Beijing, which I still consider good. It's sort of like Michael Caine movie is a lot like pizza. Even when it's bad, it's still pizza. So you eat it. And Bullet to Beijing was not that great production-wise, but it's still great to see Michael Caine play the character. But he's moved on to doing so. Here's another film I've never seen of his. I refuse to see it because I'm such a big fan of the story. I didn't want to see the Muppet version, which was his version of Ebenezer Scrooge in the Muppet Christmas Carol.
I would love him in that role, but not with the Muppets. No,
not with the Muppets. I cherish that story. It's it's a personal, like it's an important story to me about personal redemption. And it's one of my favorite stories. And I just didn't want to see it made silly. And I just can't watch it.
I thought your bond with the story was the crankiness.
No.
That too.
Although I love that about Ebenezer Scrooge. I've always more identified with Cratchit. Bob Cratchit.
I've seen the original. It was one of the first movies our parents let us watch on Christmas Day while they were getting the tree ready and the presents and everything. It was one of the rare occasions we were put in front of the TV to be occupied.
Which version?
The original. My dad had it on VHS. And
there's a silent version. There's one from the 30s. There's one from the 50s with Alistair Sim.
Probably the 50s one then. Probably the 50s
that's
German version,
Alistair
of course.
Sim.
But
and then in the 60s, Albert Finney took on the part and he played both the young version and the older version. He did something with his face that was just, he contorted in such a way that he was able to play the older version perfectly. And it's the musical version too. I love that film. It is probably one of the most cherished versions of the film is that one. And then my number one favorite version is with George C. Scott. I think it's the most accurate telling of the book. It's closest to the book. But because so often they leave certain important things, because above anything else, it's a ghost story.
Yes.
It's not just a story about personal redemption. It's a ghost story. And I love that, Bah, humbug. I told somebody one day what humbug means. It means horseshit or bullshit.
You told me because I didn't know. Because we don't
bulldog,
say that here.
Humbug. Scattering the humbug. It's a polite way of saying bullshit.
Most of the time, Gerry says he explained something to someone, that someone is me.
And I learned that when I was in England, because I lived in England and in Ireland for a year. And I was fascinated by language. And I say certain words to this day the English way, because they were I got introduced to them from, being in England and Ireland. Oh, do not put him on. No.
Oh, come on, man.
Now
Hi, Chris.
he's crying. See what you've done, Gerry.
I have a bone to pick.
Oh, I don't want to hear about your bone.
No. This is a family
No one
show.
cares about your bones, guys. Behave.
I tune in. I'm like, oh, they're talking about Michael Caine. I'll go in. I'll tune in and see what they have to say about Michael Caine. First thing I hear, you don't want to see the Muppet Christmas Carol?
No, I won't see it.
It is, and I am staking my
I've heard
reputation on this. It is.
I trust you. I can't do it. I
The
can't do it.
best Christmas Carol put to screen. Michael Caine is the best Ebenezer Scrooge ever to grace the silver screen. I will die on that hill. It is
You
awesome.
can. I'm not going to
Nobody
get
argues
mad.
with you that
I'm not
he's
going to
perfect
argue
for
with
that
you.
role.
I'm just telling you, there's a very specific reason why I can't. Because that story, it was one of the first stories I ever read, and it holds a very special place to me. And I can't watch the Muppets do that story. I
And
just
yet
can't.
that script captures the essence of
I
a
cannot
Christmas Carol.
stand Gonzo doing any voice in that story. I'm sorry, and I love Gonzo.
Gonzo is
the greatest.
Gonzo is Ebenezer Scrooge, or no, Gonzo is Charles Dickens in the movie, and it is fantastic. And Rizzo the Rat is questioning.
I love
everything he has
Rizzo
to
too.
say.
I love Rizzo. By the way, another Brett has slipped in here. My buddy Andy Morrow is here, and of course, our good friend Read by Nature is here. Good evening, guys. I hope everybody's doing well. I just wanted to celebrate because there are a lot of people at birthdays, and I made fun of Keith today because Keith is like, this is Leonard Nimoy's birthday too, and I'm like, yeah, but he's gone. We still have Michael Caine, and he says, well, I just want to wish Leonard Nimoy a happy birthday. I said, seriously, you're saying happy birthday to someone who's dead. They're like,
You can still
not here.
celebrate him.
It's
on the
so
day
weird
would be
to
his
say happy
birthday.
birthday to somebody who's gone.
Well,
I was just being a dick to Keith because I like doing that to him every once in a while.
posthumous birthday. Yeah, I will say
posthumous.
this though, even though, and for all the Michael Caine fans that might hear this today or any other day, I have to acknowledge that Michael Caine in A Muppet Christmas Carol, it's the only way he would agree to do it. He said, he's like, I'm not going to do anything silly. He's like, I'm going to play it serious as a heart attack. All the other Muppets can be silly around me. And there are moments where they actually aren't. The whole idea of Kermit the Frog as Bob Cratchit with Tiny Tim is like played really straight, actually. I mean, there's comedic moments in there, Miss Piggy and the daughters and that sort of thing is really funny. But Michael Caine turns in what, I think the Muppets obviously made it so the Academy would never consider it, but he turns in an Oscar-worthy performance as Ebenezer Scrooge, and it is fantastic. I know you don't want to see it, Gary, but I'm just saying that to acknowledge all the other...
I can't.
It is.
I just can't.
It is my Christmas, like all my other members of the family, they want to watch Elf, they want to watch The Grinch at Christmas time, Home Alone. I have to have my viewing of A Muppet's Christmas Carol, along with Scrooged with Bill Murray too. But A Muppet's
I love that movie too, because that one, he wasn't Ebenezer Scrooge, but he's being Scrooged.
Yeah, exactly.
And I love that concept. It's like, wow, what a great movie. I so thoroughly enjoyed that.
Oh yeah.
And Anima didn't like it, but I still love that moment when she gets him to bend over and she hits him with the toaster.
That's,
he goes,
yeah.
Oh,
bitch, hit me with the
her.
toaster.
She's
I laughed so fucking hard
I
at Carol
had
Kane.
problems with her brutality. I did not enjoy that.
I thought it was hilarious. My daughter enjoyed that too. My daughter's, it's funny. The scene that my older daughter found the most hilarious is when the Ghost of Christmas Future or Things to Come is reaching through the screen at him and he doesn't see him. For some reason, she didn't like that. But
it's like
my
King
favorite,
Kong.
Yeah, my favorite scene out of that, I have two favorite scenes. One was your hallucination brought on by Russian vodka, poison from Chernobyl.
Yes.
I also like the thing, hey, back off, pal. That might work with the chicks. When he's right up on him in the elevator.
But the best gag in that was when he's sitting down to dinner and he sees the waiter on fire and he douses him with ice and then it's a hallucination.
Oh my God, yeah.
He's like, I'm sorry. I thought you were Richard Pryor.
And when he slipped going out the door, that was for real. And
they kept really?
It in. Yeah, he fell on his ass. I
mean, going back to Michael Caine, though, like, again, I'm still working and I've got things to do, but I was like, I tuned in and you're like, no Muppet Christmas Carol. It's just was too much for me. It broke my heart.
Chris, if you listen to us, we both agreed that we would love to see him in that role, just not accompanied by the Muppets.
Man, maybe I can arrange it with AI, but I just
No Muppets, no Jaws. These people have no
Charles
heart.
Dickens is my favorite author.
well,
ever.
you see, and I have no dispute with him being a fantastic author. Personally, I've always found there's never been a screen adaptation of A Christmas Carol, except, Shinosky also pointed out the Scrooge McDuck one. But for me,
Never
it's
saw
like
that one.
it's a story that for screen needs livening up in some way. It always kind of, I don't know, just kind of dragged on for me on the screen. To me, it's one of those stories that you either have to find some way to liven it up for the screen, or you have to keep it as a book, because it's, and it's not a very long story, but it's just Dickens.
Yeah, I would almost call it a novella. It's so short.
Yeah, Dickens is one of those writers that's, like many other, it's like, I don't think there's really any good screen adaptations of my favorite author, Ray Bradbury, because what makes him so engaging, so special, is what's on the page.
The closest we got was Martian Chronicles and Something Wicked.
Yeah,
I liked both productions.
Yeah, they're not awful, but they don't do it for me. There's nothing Bradbury. I would. I will take that back. When the Twilight Zone did "I Sing the Body Electric," the Electric Grandmother story, that was a beautiful story. But that's the only time that I've ever. I'll make one more amendment. A screenplay he wrote. It was never a story. He wrote a screenplay that was produced as a Disney TV comedy called The Wonderful Ice Cream Suit, starring Edward James Olmos and Joe Mantegna. And it also had some great appearances by some classic comedians, like, I think, anyway, doesn't matter. We're going off into the reeds, but that's a recommended. If you can watch that movie, I actually think that whole movie would be worth doing a show on at some point. But anyway, Michael Caine, Christmas Carol, I'm for it. I'm sure there are people listening that'll be for it too. See your point of view. I love you, man, but I'm telling you, you're missing out. It works. It's great, but
I'm sure it does. It's just it's a pet peeve with me. I think Ray Bradbury had some other short stories that showed up. Oh no, one of the first season took one of the short stories that ended up in the Martian Chronicles of the guy imprisoned on Mars.
Oh, well,
he has an android wife to help him survive.
Did they adapt that? He had a whole android family. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for the first season of Twilight Zone, that ended up in there. I think it was towards the middle or end of the season, and they had some serious problems because they almost lost a couple of crew members because they weren't prepared to go out there in that desert to shoot that. They didn't bring enough water, and people ended up being dehydrated and it got heat stroke.
Yeah, that's
making
rough.
that episode.
I'll have to look for that.
It's one of my favorites. Great actor, Jack. What's his name? Martin, help me out here. What was that Norm Macdonald movie that I love so much? Dirty Tricks, was that it? Dirty Works.
Wouldn't know.
I thought you were going to segue into Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
No, because that is the next one. I actually have that up on my screen because I wanted to talk about that film. Dirty Works, 1998. Right. There it is. Dirty Work. And the actor's name was Jack Warden. Jack Warden plays the prisoner on the planet that has the android wife.
That is,
and it is a Ray Bradbury short story.
He's not a prisoner; he's marooned.
No, he's a prisoner because they got to bring supplies to him.
I don't see.
And he's not allowed to leave with them.
A variation on that story because in the Martian
Chronicles, he changed it. Yeah. No, he changed it in Martian Chronicles, but the original short story was he was part of a prisoner program. and doing his time on Mars, isolation, and he's allowed to have an android, female android, of his picking. Hey, Zax is here. What's up, buddy? He's
Hi,
almost
Zax.
British. He's from Canada. Now, you've got British blood, right? Chris?
He's almost British. He's what? I've got British blood.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I said you've got British blood, right?
I was born in England.
Yeah, I know.
I
That's
spent
why
the
I'm bringing
first
it up.
few
I'm
years
giving
of
you a
my life-
chance.
Oh, you want to hear me do an English accent? Is that what you're after? Because I can.
You're almost like a Peter Sellers there.
Well,
By the way, have you ever heard Peter Sellers, Michael Caine? It's really good.
No.
It's really good. You find it on look on YouTube. Look up Peter Sellers, Peter Sellers, Michael Caine impression, and he tells a Michael Caine story. It's just real quick.
I was
and
just
funny
looking
and
on IMDb at Michael Caine's IMDb, and
Hey,
for some
Keith.
reason, I feel like, hey Keith, I feel like he was in a Ray Bradbury story. Was he in that Sound of Thunder? Maybe not. Maybe I'm.
I don't think so.
that.
But I did want to talk about the film Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Frank Oz was the director. And what a lot of people don't know is that was a remake of a film from 1964 starring Marlon Brando in the part that Steve Martin plays and David Niven in the part that Michael Caine would play. And it was called The Bedtime Story.
Was it still a comedy?
It's yes. And I got to tell you, Marlon Brando, as odd as that is, was great in that freaking movie. It has a different ending now. And that was the one thing they changed. And I liked what Frank Oz did. He changed the ending of the film and made it better.
What?
Or as my brother Michael would say, more better.
I was just thinking, though, I mean, that was, I mean, can we spoil the ending? What was that? They were the con man that...
In the original film, Marlon Brando falls for I think it was Debbie Reynolds in the part. And she's lost
Shirley
money.
Jones, I thought.
Or Shirley Jones, that's it, Shirley Jones. And he finally caves in and says, I'm not he thought he was a bachelor, the ultimate bachelor, but he went and fell in love with her. She made an honest man of him. And they go off on a cruise together while David Niven gets right back to what he was doing, conning rich women out of their money. And that's how the movie ended, the original. In the new film, they learn, Michael Caine and Steve Martin discover that she was the ultimate con man. And she conned both of them. And she said, the best money I've ever taken was your money.
Well,
I love that ending.
It was a mistaken identity movie because that both of them thought the other was the fox.
The fox.
The fox.
Yeah. And it's just so freaking funny, you know. And in the end, she's the fox. She takes their money, but then comes back and they join as a team to con an entire group of people out of their money for building a resort. I'm like, I'm all in. I wish there had been a sequel to that because I would have loved that.
The
and
funny
we lost her.
That was a great example of you know, Michael Caine. Like Steve Martin can be funny to me sometimes, yes, sometimes no. That's a great example of Michael Caine giving a straight man to Steve Martin to play to that made Steve Martin funnier by the way that he just again like pretty much
when he plays, because Zach's just asked about it. When he does because that's also in the Marlon Brando version. It is. Marlon Brando plays that part and it's funny as hell. But Steve Martin went the extra mile, putting the cork on the end of the fork.
Why is the cork on the fork?
It's just so freaking funny. And he goes, excuse me, can I go to the bathroom, please? He goes, yes, you can, Rupert. And then he goes, makes the face, and he goes, thank you. And he never leaves his seat.
You know,
I'm just like,
let me disagree a little bit. The thing about Michael Caine, and really about even the original film is that Michael Caine was actually playing a very comedic part. Being the straight man sometimes doesn't mean that you have to be the same kind of straight man that, say, Dean Martin was to Jerry Lewis, where you
absolutely.
constantly play the non-comedic straight man. He was a very funny character anyway. It's just that Steve Martin had to be a little outrageous. That's the difference. You know, it's a more refined comedy. And
Yeah,
so
another thing that they changed, Keith, that I wish they hadn't changed in the original film with Brando and Niven, the scene where he's in the wheelchair and he starts hitting him with the crop.
yeah,
It's his bare feet on the arches of his feet, and Brando is like crying. he's crying because it's hurting. He's like, I don't feel anything, nothing, and he's just. It was so freaking funny. And don't get me wrong, I enjoyed that scene with Steve Martin, but I felt it was better with the feet, not the shins.
Yeah, I'll have to see the original version because I didn't know that existed.
I think I have a copy of it. If you can't find it, just let me know.
And what do they call it again?
The Bedtime Story.
The Bedtime Story.
Bedtime Story is the name of the movie.
Was
No,
it
just
Bedtime Story?
Bedtime Story.
Yes, Bedtime Story.
Yes.
There it is, 1964 Bedtime Story. Here, I'll show you, and I'll share it with you in the private chat too. This is a film, and this is what the original film was before it was remade. Better, in my opinion, in most ways, it was better. Because the criticism that Bedtime Story got at the time was it was uneven because Brando doing comedy was weird to people, and whereas Steve Martin and Michael Caine were perfect, and everybody knows that Michael Caine is very good at comedy. Here's the film. Bedtime Story. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
You know, a film like Noises Off also is a different brand of comedy.
John Ritter.
You know, that is true.
Carol Burnett. Great movie.
In that film, that's Michael Caine being more of a traditional straight man. Because everybody else had to be outrageous. And he had to be.
Well, that's the thing. It's
completely.
It's the same thing. Here's a great comparison. News Radio. Michael Caine's character is the only sane person in that movie. Just like David Foley is the only sane person at the news station in News Radio. If you watch it, that's what's going on. And immediately, the minute you said that, I'm like, that's the show that popped into my head, because when I watch News Radio, it reminds me of that film.
So I want to bring up something that because I can't stay much longer, and I don't even know if this is on your agenda for today, but it's something from Michael Caine that I absolutely love, and it's not something that most people would seek out unless they're a aspiring actor or director, which is Michael Caine, before Masterclass was a thing, for the BBC, did a masterclass.
Yes, he did. You can find it on YouTube.
It is on YouTube, yes.
Yep.
And it is absolutely brilliant. I learned more about directing, even though it was about acting. I learned more about directing from that.
Blocking. He talks about blocking a lot.
Eyeline. He talks about how to shoot actors, and he's addressing it. Then this is what was so helpful to me, and I do recommend anyone that's interested in Michael Caine, go check it out because it's engaging from beginning to end.
We are all interested in your cocaine.
And but it's just brilliant because and mine is all gone, so forget it.
I think you used it all.
But it's again, there was so much information, and because he was talking about it from the point of view of an actor, most film classes for directors never consider the fact that you are in a way doing an interaction, a dance, a transaction, however you want to say it, with the actor. So to understand how the actor is trying to engage you as a director, engage the camera, helped me immensely to understand how to direct. And as a result, when I was making the Quantum Terror, I was these were new actors. I was teaching them things that they didn't know, that were helping them to do the shot. And they're such simple things. They're not, it's not method acting. It's not anything like ethereal or over romanticized. It's very stripped down. Like, you do this. And when you say it, when I said it to the actors, relayed this information to them, they were just like, oh, okay. Like, they got it right away. And that's how Michael Caine, interacts with the camera. And there's this great story that he has that it kind of relates to, I know he's not in the birdcage, but it kind of relates to the bit that Robin Williams did. He's some director, I forget who it was, in a scene was going like, what are you doing? He's like, what do you mean what I'm doing? He's like, you're not doing anything in the scene. It's like, well, I don't have anything to do. And he's like, what do you mean? Of course you have things to do. You have wonderful things to do, wonderful things to say and think these wonderful thoughts. And you stand there and you choose not to say them. And it's just like this really great way the director telling him, like, look, you may not be doing anything in the scene, but whatever you have going through your mind, your intention, your listening, whatever, that's going to show up on the camera, because he described it as a laser scalpel.
It's the same thing Strother Martin would do. Because Strother Martin, you know who he is. Cool Hand Luke. He was the guy that ran the chain gang. The camp.
Sorry, I got distracted.
Yeah, what we have here is a failure to communicate. Strother Martin, there's a great line from Jimmy Stewart, a story, where he was doing a scene with him on his TV series. And Strother Martin has a pencil and a string in his hand. And Jimmy walked in and went, I'm not going to, no, he can have either the string or the pencil. If he's got both, nobody will even notice I'm in the scene.
That's true.
He's really good at fucking with stuff.
It's a good point, though. I mean, I know exactly what you mean when you say that. The other thing about Michael Caine in this as well, and I do have to sign off, but I'd have fun talking about this forever, is he said when you're on camera, you don't blink, because the more you blink, the more it distracts the audience. Now, I see actors blink all the time, but yeah, I've watched Michael Caine, and every once in a while there's a blink in there, but he's very good at not.
He's very self-conscious about it. Yeah,
I've
seen him talk about that too. I think we're talking about the same video.
So. Oh, absolutely. Oh, no, I know you've seen it. Dude, I would be shocked if you hadn't seen it. But anyway, with that, gentlemen, I'm still working, and I've got some things that I've got to wrap up that need my full attention. But again, you had me at not seeing Keith. You've seen Muppet Christmas Carol, right? Keith?
Yes, I have.
Oh, okay, great.
Yes.
Another video you should watch if you've never seen it is on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, when Michael Caine and Sean Connery appeared together. It was one of my favorite interviews. They were so much fun to listen to. It's on YouTube.
All right, I will listen to that. Sean Connery can beat someone else's wife for a change. Hey-oh.
Sometimes you've got to give her a good schmack. But they were best friends, and they were roommates. And,
between Michael Caine and Schmack. Yeah.
Michael Caine and Schmack.
All right, everyone. Gentlemen, it's a pleasure. Anima, lovely to be on a stream with you. Have a great evening.
Now we know how to get you to come on. Just say something that
Talk
you don't
about
want
movies
to
you like and say I won't watch them.
Or bring up AI. AI is like Beetlejuice.
Right.
Or telling you to get on it.
I'll see you later, buddy. Good seeing you.
Bye,
Thanks for popping in. I do want to say hi because once again, I don't know if you heard me. I did say hi to Bush McFadden. Bush, how you doing, buddy? Awesome One is here, and DJ Play Nice is here. I hope everybody's having a wonderful evening. I am here celebrating Michael Caine because I love Michael Caine, and he's one of my favorite actors of all time.
Yeah, what's that?
And the guy has lived such a wonderful life. He knows he's had a blessed life. And meeting his wife, the way he met his wife still gets me, Shakira. She was a model who appeared in a British coffee commercial. He saw the commercial, and he's like, I've got to meet her. And he finagled a friend to help him. And he did. He met her, and they went on a date, and they've been together ever since. 1967. That's a hell.
Wow.
And with that,
oh, no break, no break. I'm not going to do a break tonight, buddy. No break tonight.
You're
I
not
appreciate
going
it.
full
though.
2 hours, right?
I appreciate it, but I just want to. I'm probably going to go another 30 minutes, and I just, God, I just love Michael Caine so much. And I wish we got to do this a couple weeks back, but I'm glad we're doing it at least tonight, because then I know Keith showed up and Chris showed up because he didn't
Bush
like
is
the fact that
yellows.
I refuse to. Oh, what's wrong with gay? Not that there's anything wrong with that.
He's just jealous that you love Michael Caine more than you love Bush.
Yeah, but everybody knows that Gary's only really gay for me.
I'm gay for my girlfriend. Yes, it's true. Again,
There you go.
it looks like The Great Escaper, which is his last movie. Oddly, he's 15 years older than the actual man that was living in a nursing home or a skilled care facility, and he had to escape to go to the D-Day anniversary. And there's two versions of it, one with Michael Caine and one with Pierce Brosnan, or not. Is it Pierce Brosnan? Yeah, Pierce Brosnan. No, not Pierce Brosnan. Timothy Dalton. The other Bond. The good Bond. God, my favorite Bond. And I love Sean Connery, but you and I've talked about that, Keith. Like,
He was
License
my
to
Bond.
Kill is, in my opinion, the best Bond film. It's my favorite.
License to Kill is a decent enough movie, but I am a fan of The Living Daylights.
Living
Because
Daylights is my next
that
favorite.
movie,
Number one is License to Kill because it finally tells the story of what happened to Felix Leiter. It's
yeah,
from another story, but yes, they finally show what happened to him with having his leg eaten off by a shark. Tortured. And
which
I
is
like
one
the
of the
film 'cause
things
it's
they don't.
dark.
Yeah, it is a fun film. It is a good film, but I really love The Living Daylights because I love the fact that it's his first turn as Bond. I don't think he's ever really, in my opinion, appeared better as Bond in any other film. I like.
Well, he was closer to the book. And the reason you and I know this, both know this, is that Timothy Dalton was a voracious reader of Ian Fleming. And he was the only actor to this day that read all of the Bond books and was a fan of them. And it's why back in 1969, he turned it down when they offered it to him because he wasn't old enough. And that's why it went to Lazenby.
And he didn't think yeah, that's it. And again, it was based done as to the reason why they decided to cast him, and it was The Lion in Winter. And when you look at who his co-stars were for that movie,
he played Prince.
I mean, Timothy Dalton shined. But look at who his co-stars were. You know, Anthony Hopkins.
It was Anthony Hopkins' first film. It was his first movie. Peter O'Toole, Katharine Hepburn.
And what's the name of the actor that played the youngest son? That was. I mean, they all went on to do great things. That's the actor from Excalibur, who was Arthur. He played the youngest son.
Yeah, I'm forgetting his name. Give me a second. Nigel Terry.
Yeah, that's it. The late great Nigel Terry. That was just a stacked cast. So to shine above all of these, to get the attention of the Bond producers. That says something. And it's one of the reasons why they kept going back after him, even after he had turned them down. The thing about Roger Moore is that every so often they would check back to see if Timothy Dalton would be interested. And he would constantly tell them no.
I
So
wish
it wasn't
they'd
like a
gotten him
one-time.
for View to a Kill, because View to a Kill would have been so much better with Timothy Dalton.
Yeah, it would have. And again, we could just do an entire other podcast about the Bond stuff, but I, like you, am a big fan of Michael Caine. And for me,
and once again, there's that connection, because I talked about it earlier before you got here, was Harry Saltzman, owner of Eon Productions, is the reason why we got the poor man's James Bond with Harry Palmer. And what a lot of people don't know is Harry Palmer didn't have a name in the book. It was told from his POV. So he never says his own name. So, he doesn't have a name. So when he made the movie, Harry Saltzman went to Michael Caine and said, well, what do you think would be a good first name for this character? He says, it needs to be a name that's boring, and not interesting. And Caine turns to Harry Saltzman and says, how about Harry? And so he named him Harry. And then they came up with Palmer separately. And I thought that was great, man. And he did 5 films. Technically, I believe he did more, because some films it's clearly he's playing Harry Palmer, but he's going by a different. It's still Harry. It'll be something else, like Harry Brown.
Yeah.
He just likes names for his characters.
He's done some films that like I didn't want to watch because I felt I felt that he was better than the movie. Like Dear Dictator, I didn't want to see that. Last Witch Hunter, wasn't interested in it. Youth. I did see The Kingsman, The Secret Service. I did not like it, but I loved his death scene. It was a good scene. He was great in Interstellar. Stonehurst Asylum, Last Love. I'm looking at all of them. Now You See Me. I didn't like that movie, but he was great in it. Great in the Batman films as Alfred. He is, in my opinion, the best.
He is my favorite Alfred. He is my favorite Alfred. I mean, he should have been nominated for an Academy Award for his performance in The Dark Knight Rises.
Batman, so they're not going to do it. Look,
I know, but
he did with Christopher Nolan. The remake of Sleuth, which he starred in the original film with Olivier, he was good in it. It's not a great film. It's good. The Prestige is one of my favorites. Another Christopher Nolan film.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's great in Children of Men. What a good film.
I think The Prestige is, in my opinion, the best Nolan film, because it is one of those films that you can watch, and when you really start to dig deep into that movie, I mean, it's the book is good. I think the movie's slightly better, and once you figure out at the end of the movie what you've been watching, when it clearly states what has actually been going on, and your mind clicks into what actually has been happening, it's terrifying a little bit.
Yeah, one guy's using science, perverting science, and the other one just has a twin.
Yeah,
and it's such a mind fuck at the end.
She's
heartbreaking too.
Yeah,
and to find out that Hugh Jackman's character has been murdering himself over and over again, to where at this point, if you pay attention at the end of the film, that's not the original Hugh Jackman character.
No,
he's just one of the replications.
That's
How do you know
one
that?
of the twists.
If you pay attention, The guy that is up in the balcony, or the one that drowns, is him. And the one up in the
In other words,
balcony.
the way the trick is done,
nuts.
the way the trick is done, the person up on stage is the
Dies.
one for whom is the one who dies. And so
Yep.
rather than have the new guy be, you know, you make the new guy the guy up in the balcony. And so it really is just doing that again and again and again. And the scene where you know how in the movie every so often you see Hugh Jackman dunk his head underwater. Well, that's really, somebody had to explain that to me. I thought he was just cleaning himself off. No, what he was doing was he was testing something that he had been told by the other character as to what drowning was like, to explain how his wife went. You know, it's a good thing that she drowned because it could have been worse. And that's him understanding what it was like to drown. And it's actually horrible to do.
It is such a wackadoodle film. And it is, in my opinion, with like you, I think it is the best Christopher Nolan film to date. Now there's another film that a lot of people forget. He did a film with I think it was with oh my god, great black actor from the 60s. Just forgot his name. Said it earlier because they did a movie together in the 60s. Sidney Poitier. Sidney Poitier made a film with him in the 60s, and then in the 90s they made a film together again called Mandela and de Klerk, and that is an amazingly good film, and nobody remembers that movie.
What about Victory? What did you think of Victory?
It's a fun film. It's a silly film. I do like it. I like the fact that Stallone,
it's a great
Stallone couldn't do the moves, so they had to hire a soccer player to wear a Stallone full head mask.
Yeah,
for some of the soccer stunts. But another great film with him is with another knighted actor, is Without a Clue. You remember that one? Where he plays the bumbling version of Sherlock Holmes, and Watson played by Ben Kingsley. And Kingsley is Watson, and he's the smarter of the two. And his story is fictional. I love that movie. I thought it was hilarious. A nice twist on the Sherlock Holmesian stories. And it came out the year before Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Again, it's a testament to Michael Caine as an actor, the different types and genres of films that he's appeared in. While some movies, like his Jaws movie, may not have been up to snuff.
But it paid for his house.
It did pay for his house. He brings the same level of intensity, no matter what type of movie that it is. And again, if you really want to learn what balanced acting is, check out The Man Who Would Be King. To have two great actors on screen together, that teaches you how to act in a scene with someone else who you truly admire and respect. Because there is a lot of give and take when performing. And you have to learn how to do that in order to work the scene properly. You know, technically you should bring the kind of intensity that it requires based on what the author or screenwriter has written. And sometimes it doesn't work out like that, you know. But when you have two people that truly enjoy being around each other, which those two did, you get something special like The Man Who Would Be King. It's one of the reasons why you don't see a lot of really good actors today want to even attempt to remake that film, because it is so good. It's daunting. You can't think of two actors who are actually friends in real life that would want to take on that film. It's next to impossible to think of two actors who can do that
I would say it
without
is
making it either
impossible.
a comedy or yeah, it's a great story, but but Michael Caine and Sean Connery just
Yeah, and they only
I
did
wish
2
we
movies
would have
together.
gotten more films. I know. I wish we'd gotten more because it is
I know
just
because
great
they were
watching the
best
two
friends
of
in real
them.
life. It would seem like they would want to do more together, and they probably did, but the studios didn't seem to want to pay for it. And so we only got
No.
when they're together, the man who would be king, and then later they would both be in but not together. The bridge too far, or a bridge too far.
Uh-huh. It's it's great to realize and to see that. And again, Michael Caine, every performance really is a master class in acting. It doesn't matter what the material is as long as you bring it every single time.
Well, he always, yeah, he always.
You are.
He never phoned it in. He never phoned it in. He always brought his A game, no matter what film he worked on. I mean, I've seen clips from Jaws 3 where he's actually really good in it, but it's a terrible fucking movie. Another film where I felt like the film was nowhere near a good actor, a film as he was an actor, is The Island, based off of the book by Peter Benchley. Beyond the Poseidon, what a terrible movie. Another odd one, The Hand. I mean, it's not like it's a terrible film, but it's clunky. And I liked it as a kid, but I tried watching it as an adult, and that was a mistake. I shouldn't watch that as an adult because first thing I do is I start tearing it apart. But Death Trap was another one he did, which was a play turned into a film, just like Sleuth, and it was very similar in its themes. And I really liked that movie. Let's see. The Swarm was a terrible movie, but he was great in it. Let's see.
Well, there are a lot
Has
of people
Landed.
making terrible movies in the 70s.
Well, The Eagle Has Landed was really one of the worst World War II movies made in the 70s, but he was good in it. So was Robert Duvall. Everybody in it was good. The movie was terrible. Playing Peachy, of course, in The Man Who Would Be King. What a great flick. Now I'm going back in time. One of my favorite films, The Black Windmill. It's a kidnapping film. And I love that movie. Let's see. Get Carter. Oh my God, I love that movie. Just an absolute, I mean, it inspired so much. What?
I said both versions of Get Carter are good, but Michael Caine's original version is
the first one's the
the
best. The second one's is acceptable. Yeah. And he's in it. He's in the sequel or in the remake. Let's see. Play Dirty.
Yes.
Is the movie he did with Sidney Poitier. Great freaking movie. He was so natural playing commandos because he was a commando. And in real life. The Magus, it was a good film. Deadfall, good film. $1 Billion Brain, I love that movie. I love any of the Harry Palmer films. Funeral in Berlin, another Harry Palmer film. Gambit, it's a good film. It's a very good film. Alfie, the shit. Ipcris File, playing Harry Palmer. And then his first film, Zulu, that he starred in. Co-starred in.
It's what made him big.
I like Payback. It's a good film.
I think
that one's over money, not revenge, really.
I think it's really a testament to a particular actor that it doesn't really matter what the genre was, sometimes even what the part was. If you go into it and you just give your all, you know, it all means something in the end. You can't just phone it in. That was never his thing. And I've always respected that as an audience member and a film fan. Because some people you can tell after a while just start phoning it in. And for Michael Caine to always make it worth the money that you pay to go watch his film or the time that you give to watch any of his movies, I've always appreciated that as a film fan.
I'm going to share one particular film that I was very fond of. As a mini series, but they eventually released it as a movie. And for some reason, it's not wanting to load. There we go. Here we go. Share screen. He played Inspector Aberlin in Jack the Ripper, 1988, with what's her name, Jane Seymour. Really, really good production.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed that. 3 hours and 10 minutes.
Wow.
And it was very entertaining. Armand Desante was in it. Oh my God, just a great production.
That's another actor that always brings it. And with Armand Desante, he is someone who, again, many people really do not understand where he's originally from. Because when you find out, some people are truly amazed. Armand Desante is an American. In fact, he was born in America. He's where he's from. He had a I think he's from New Jersey, and he got rid of that accent. He completely rid of his Jersey
hold on
accent.
a second. Hold on, Keith. Okay, you said it's not about the money, but it is about the money. He wanted the money that was taken from him. He didn't care about the other things. He thought about revenge, but he, because he went in there to kill his wife and because she betrayed him, but he ended up not doing that. It was all about getting that $25,000. They were offering him more later, and he goes, "I don't want that. I just want the money that's owed me. No more, no less." So it is about the money, and it's less about revenge because he has an opportunity to get revenge, and he doesn't take it. When he does get revenge, it's just sort of like icing on the cake for him. It's like, oh, I thought I just had cake, but I get icing too? Hell yeah, I'll take that icing. So it works. So it is about the money, but it's specifically about $25,000 that was stolen from him. So I love the film. I love both versions of the film too. Mel Gibson pushed to have the original cut released, which is darker. Doesn't have the comedy in it, and I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, yeah.
It looks like Bush is getting a bit annoyed here.
What's that?
Bush seems to be getting annoyed. He's trying to get his point across. It was about the principle. It wasn't about the money. It was the fact that he was owed the money.
What's owed to him? $25,000. Stop saying it's not about the money. It's still about the money. But it is the principle that's more important, more than anything. But the principle is the $25,000. He wants what's owed him. You can kill Ugg all you want to. I'm telling you, it's still part of it. Because he wasn't owed a sandwich. He wasn't owed a job. He was owed $25,000.
I think what he's saying here is that it never mattered what he was owed. He would have gone for it.
He would have gone for the amount, but it's still money.
Oh, man. We need a Thunderdome to put you two inside and solve this matter.
No. That's my buddy Bush, man. He knows I love him. But
Bush is awesome.
Such an interesting show with Jane Seymour. I love this little miniseries. Watch it as a film. It's 3 hours and 10 minutes long. Totally worth watching, and I highly recommend it. Michael Caine is brilliant in this production, and it's been all but forgotten. It's hard to find a copy of it. There's another appearance of Caine made on Parkinson's Chat Show. I used to watch Parkinson's, by the way. It was a good show. You should look it up. The one with Billy Connolly where they mentioned their friendship. Oh yeah, I love Billy Connolly. There's a
That dude is
fucked
freaking
up funny story. He has this great story where he's going to see Liam Neeson and in Ireland, and on his way, he finds a cat that he thinks he's hit with his car, and he puts it out of its misery, but it wasn't hit. It just sleeps that way. He killed it. All because he was going to go see Liam, and the whole visit got ruined. Go look it up on YouTube. It's fucking hilarious. Billy Connolly kills me with his comedy.
Billy Connolly was on a show, a talk show, and he was doing a show comedy, an episode about comedy, and he was with
that's it right here. Two cats, one van.
Man, he was with one of the members of Python, and it was
hopefully one of the good ones.
Man,
Venkman's Girl is here.
Lost
Hi,
his
Venkman's
name in my
Girl.
head.
Well, you got a choice.
Hey, Venkman's Girl.
You've got Terry Gilliam, Terry Gilliam, Terry Jones, John Cleese, Michael Palin, and then the other two, Eric Idle and Graham Chapman.
That's it, Eric Idle. Eric Idle.
He's not the good one. I don't like Eric Idle.
We're cracking the host. They were cracking the host up. I mean, just losing it. And in fact, Billy Connolly ended up cracking up everybody on the show. I mean, he just eventually just went off. And even Eric had to stop and giggle a little bit. I mean,
but
I tell people all the time just to look up Billy Connolly's comedy and stand up and just see if you can make it through an entire show without laughing. See if you can go stone faced through an entire stand up routine by Billy Connolly. You can't. You can't. He will get you.
Well, he's a brilliant comedian.
But yeah,
really fast.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. I just think that overall, it is great to celebrate the life and career of someone whom, to me, is the consummate actor. And Michael Caine is and will always be that to me. And I said it before and I'll say it again. He is my favorite Alfred because he brought so much humanity to that part.
I'm right there with you. He's my favorite too.
You can definitely buy that he would have spent the rest of his life caring for this young man and caring about what happened to him. And that final scene.
There's a reason why that John Cleese and Graham Chapman didn't like Eric Idle and why he didn't like them. Because they were Monty Python.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, before we go, I wanted to play this video. This is from the trip to Italy, Michael Caine discussion.
I was wondering whether you'd actually booked the Mini in Italy, the Italian job, just to give you the opportunity to say, you're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off. But I've done it now, so hopefully that'll be an end to it.
Do you, Michael Caine? Did you?
He just shit on him. Do your Michael Caine like he didn't just do it.
His voice gets even more emotional than it's ever done in the past before. I don't want to bury you, Batman. I will not. put you into the ground in a little box. I will not do it, Master Bruce. I will not do it.
I'm not going to bury another Batman.
Another Batman? How many Batmans has he been burying?
Another Batman. I love this scene. This is one of my favorite scenes with these two. They crack me up.
How many are there? I've buried 14 Batmen
I've buried
so far,
14
and
Batmen.
their little pointy ears
I'm
into the
not
box.
going to bury another nylon cloak with pointy ears that people wear at birthday parties.
With a little belt, the very wide belt that is
Very wide
flattering
belt.
to a man with an expanded girth. I won't do that to you, Master Bruce. I will not do it to you.
And I won't make the voice like that.
The voice goes even goes like that. He's
And I'm
basically
not-
yodeling.
I'm sorry. I'll end it there. I just love this movie. I love all their movies. I love the Trip movies and the miniseries they did. It's just such funny shit. And if you've never seen him, the guy that's the better version, not Coogan, but the other gentleman, he has a show called Would I Lie to You? It's a British BBC comedy show. It's supposed to be like a game show, but there's no money involved. And I watch it, and Anima watches it with me, and I think it's one of the funniest damn things I've ever seen. Watching that show, at the end of it, my face hurts in here because I've been laughing so much. The Fast Show had Michael Caine character in the sketch show in the 90s. I don't remember that. Fast Show. I'm going to have to go look it up and remind myself. I forget things. I actually do. Things don't always stay in my head.
Yeah, I'm used to you forgetting things sometimes, but when Keith's inner computer stops working like it just did, and he couldn't figure out the name,
Yes,
that was weird.
he gets
That was
brain farts
scary.
too. We all
No,
get
but
brain
with
farts.
Keith, it's scary because he's our human computer.
Oh, I agree with you. I like Craig Ferguson's.
You know what?
Michael Caine. He does Michael Caine.
I get worried.
What?
Let's see if I can find it.
Really? Hey, Anima.
Okay.
I get worried mainly because I know my brother's going to make fun of me if he ever sees me brain fart like that. So.
Okay, somebody needs to clip that and send it to Keith's brother.
No, we don't need to do that.
Keith's brain stops momentarily. Here we go. This
That was
is
the first time I witnessed that.
This is
That was
Craig
weird.
Ferguson as Michael Caine.
Here, right? This show here, it takes a lot of rehearsal, and we're very professional. We really like to do things right here. It's not easy, though, to run a television show. Sometimes things go wrong. Take a look at this.
It's Michael Caine in space. Outtakes.
We had a lot of engine trouble, and Mission Control said to me, "It looks like you've blown a seal." I told them, "No way, that's just a toothpaste." What? Hey, Bob. Dosh. Me house has come out. If I had a nickel for every time I'd said that, you know what I mean? Stick it in there, go on.
Don't stop it there. I love those little bits that he would do on the show. We're supposed to be getting him back soon. I can hardly wait till they announce the airing of his new series. And hopefully it'll bring him back to late night.
Yeah.
That's spelled OLD. Okay.
Nice one, Penny.
That's hopefully he brings the snake cup.
Well, I'm hoping the rattlesnake cup, and of course we got to have what's his name back, the robot.
Oh yeah.
Name. I just forgot his name. Oh my god, it's been too long. Because I'm a big fan of the Craig Ferguson show. I just think it's one of the happiest moments of my life is to, before bed, watch Craig Ferguson. Yeah. But anyway, that's the end, guys. Yeah. So that's the end, guys.
Just one more thing, Gary, because you said it seems like last year's movie, The Great Escaper is his last movie. It is. He announced his retirement last year.
Yeah, he said that. He said he was retiring. Yeah. People have said that before and changed their minds.
Yeah, but he has been active since 1950. That's like fucking 73 years of being an active actor. That's enough. He's 91.
He's been doing it for 8 decades.
73 years. I just said that. He started in 1950.
Yeah. But I
That's
said
very
8
nice.
decades. Mine sounds better because I said 8 instead of 7.
It's also not correct, but you do you.
I want to thank Tim for being here, Penny, Jacob the Critic, Dragon's Ruse, Words and Pictures, Andy Morrow, Read by Nature, Boosh McFadden. You should almost like it's Splash. Boosh. Splash. Anyway, awesome one. DJ Play Nice, and of course, Peter Rickman's Fanside, aka Vinkman's Girl. Appreciate everybody stopping in tonight to celebrate this man. I love Michael Caine, man. And we're going to be doing Michael Caine movie this weekend, Saturday. We are doing
Secondhand Lions
with Robert
I'm looking forward to
Duvall.
that one. What a great movie.
It is. It's just fantastic. But anyway, we're going to end it here. I want to appreciate, tell you how much I appreciate everybody being here. Keith, thanks for popping in. Chris, thanks a lot for popping in tonight, buddy. I wish you could have stayed for the whole show. But, making movies and stuff and working for Apple.
Win prizes.
Working for Apple. What a sellout. So, but that's it, guys. And we are out of here. Thanks again, Martin. Thanks again, Anima.
I'll tell my man to clean your kit.
Don't bother.
No bother. Not having to clean it myself.
Halt! Hats off!
But I ain't got me peace of mind. And if you ain't got that, you ain't got nothing. I don't know. It seems to me if they ain't got you one way, they got you another. So what's the answer? That's what I keep asking myself. What's it all about? Know what I mean?
Gerry, the band here, you've been throwing them away.
So why steal them?
Well, because he thought it was good sport, because some men aren't looking for anything logical, like money. They can't be bought, bullied, reasoned, or negotiated with. Some men just want to watch the world